No.
Under.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh, this is
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome everybody to Ep.2 of the Think Outside podcast. I'm Chris Pally with GSM Outdoors, and I have got a host of people with me today. Actually, I'm with them because I assure you, in this group, I am the outlier. You will tell that by our accent when everybody starts talking here in a second. We're sitting in an ice shack. I don't know. This is not a shack by any stretch of the imagination. But we're sitting in an ice house. We're on Lake Mille Lacs in Minnesota. According to the old Ep.2, we're sitting in about over top of 27 feet of water. How thick's the ice?
about 2.5 feet.
2.5 feet of ice. And we are jigging Northland baits. We're watching Ep.2 on a 50-inch screen. Man, I've got on too many clothes, and it's like 0 degrees here.
Yep.
Nice, warm, and comfy. But let me get us started kind of talking about what we're doing, where we are, and then kind of the subject for today's episode. So we're obviously ice fishing. We're obviously in Minnesota on Mille Lacs. We're with Brad Hawthorne of Hawthorne's Guide Service. Brad is like the Mille Lacs extraordinaire, runs a business where it really specializes in I think it's called Ice Camp, right?
Yeah,
where
yep.
you really specialize on offering a very unique experience to people that want to come up here and ice fish. Like literally, I could see my wife and daughter enjoying it. Like this is, there's a furnace on. Man, we got food, drinks, fish. It's all you could ever ask for. But if you've kept up with any of the GSM, I got one. Stand by. If you've kept up, this is gonna be super tough. If you've ever tried to like interact with an audience and watch live sonar at the same time, I got one, bro. Watch. So this is he turned away. But all right, I'm gonna watch you guys for a second. If you've kept up with GSM's growth over the past 3 years, you might know that our latest acquisition was Northland. And personally, I'm going to give my insight. And one of the things I want to do is not act like I'm the expert on Northland. I'm not the expert on walleye and ice and any of that. But knowing how important this market is to anglers overall, knowing that where I'm from in Tennessee, man, it's bass, it's crappie, catfish, some panfish, but bass is king. And knowing there's another world up here where they're every bit as passionate about walleye and every bit as passionate about ice and other species. One of the things that you might have noticed with GSM's acquisitional strategy is, why reinvent the wheel when there's already an incredible wheel out there, right? So there's been a lot of companies in my career that I've seen try to break into this market. And quite honestly, you were chasing Northland the whole time. And I mean that with great respect and a great compliment to that brand, the legacy, the history. And so back in, I don't know, November-ish, I think, we finalized that transaction, and Northland came under the GSM umbrella. And when that took place, not only did we inherit an incredible product line, an incredible brand, but we inherited, I say this, and I mean this with all my heart, oftentimes the best assets you get in an acquisition are the people. And that's undoubtedly what we got with Northland. I mean, I've got Jace Peterson, Charlie Peterson sitting in the ice house. He's over there by Joey. But anyway, we're up here. I came to get the authentic experience. I am by far, I am a ultra passionate angler, but I'm out of my comfort zone a little bit. But what I learned in an ice house, what I've learned in a boat in the Gulf, what I've learned in a bass boat on the Tennessee River is we're all just kind of fishermen at heart. We're all kind of love the same thing. We're after that next bite and, pulling on something. So let me go around the room, introduce everybody. And then I want to really start things off and talk. Let's talk to Brad a little bit about who he is, what he does, why we're here. I mean, these guys have relationships with everybody up here, all the meaningful players in this market, and we're with Brad for a reason. So I want to take a few minutes and talk about that. So let's start. I'm going to start at the far end. I don't know how you guys see this, but Joey, say hi to everybody. Tell them who you are, what you do.
Yep. How's everyone doing? I'm Joey Bissing, and I'm the social media manager for 9 of our fishing brands.
And it feels like all of them at times, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's pretty crazy.
So Joey is a young man that I met when he was on the University of Tennessee bass fishing team. Was always really outgoing, really reached out to me, and we just kind of hit it off. And when he graduated, he was wanting to get into the industry, and I could tell he had, just kind of kindred spirit with the rest of our team at GSM. So Joey has been with us since literally he graduated from UT and then came on with GSM immediately. And then sitting next to Joey, we got Charlie Peterson. Charlie, introduce yourself. Just kind of tell everybody who you are, what you do, what your background is.
Yeah, my name's Charlie Peterson, and I've been working for Northland for a number of years now, and doing social media for multiple channels, and continuing that with GSM now. And it's been really cool to get to meet these guys and work with a new team. So I'm excited to have them in the fish house today and show them what it's about.
So Charlie, and you'll hear this with Charlie and with Jace. Obviously, last name's Peterson. Family ties to the origin of the Northland brand. I mean, it's kind of their destiny to do this, I think. And man, we're just super lucky to have them on the team and kind of steering the ship of our northern and midwestern fishing brands. Sitting next to me is Jace Peterson. I'll let you introduce yourself, Jace.
Yeah, so I got hired on at GSM as a brand manager for Northland. Prior to the GSM acquisition, I was a marketing manager for Northland, working alongside Charlie for social media, some of our everything to do with marketing assets. Now as brand manager, I get to look over some of the still the marketing stuff, some of the sales stuff. I report pretty much right under directly to Crispin. He called me up in December and asked, "Hey, I want to go ice fishing." So we're here. We're trying to show Crispin and Joey pretty much everything ice fishing has to offer. Today we're kind of doing it bougie. We're in a nice ice house. We're in our sweats and jeans, and it's 70 degrees in here and it's 0 degrees outside. But yeah, it's been a fun couple months working under the GSM umbrella and the assets they have. It's been a fun ride so far.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I said this on our first episode. I'm gonna probably say it a million more times, but when we identify a brand that we feel like really fits our culture, really fits our is something that fits in our portfolio and adds value to GSM as a whole. One of the things that we look to do is not like necessarily revolutionize the brand or change the brand, but really add resources to the brand. And I hope that's what you're saying in a short amount of time is we're just adding efficiencies and synergies and resources to Northland that you didn't have as a standalone brand, right?
100%.
Without changing the DNA of Northland.
Exactly. Yep. No, we had one guy take care of 4 things. Now we have a whole team that take care of individual things.
Right.
That's where I see the biggest growth for Northland is, and the warehouse capabilities and the product development capabilities. It's all should be bigger and better.
Yeah, awesome. That's wonderful. And last but certainly not least, I want to introduce Brad Hawthorne. Brad, tell us who you are, what you do, and I'm going to say thank you first off for hosting us. And this is pretty dang nice accommodations you got here.
Well, thank you guys. I'm glad you guys came up. I was super excited when I saw the purchase of GSM to Northland because I knew what the resources would come behind that. Because I always felt with Northland, it's an awesome company, but to get those leaps and bounds to continue that synergy they had with lure design and things like that was just absolutely awesome. But leading to ice camp, so I'm a 20-year guide on Mille Lacs. That's all I've been doing. I know there's a few guys that they do 2 things or 2 or 3 things. I've been guiding on this body of water full time for 22 years, and 5 years ago, we started ice camp. And ice camp Outfitters is a
Joey's
rental.
on.
Oh, that looks like a nice one.
Oh, it is not a nice one. In fact, go ahead, Brad. We're not stopping for that little rat.
5 years ago, we started ice camp. Which, if you want to go and check out icecampoutfitters.com, go take a look at what we offer there. But basically, it is luxury 5-star ice houses with smart TVs. Some of them have Wi-Fi. We called Elon, and he put internet on 5 of our houses. And so if you bring kids or whatever, like right now, we're watching a 50-inch TV with Mega Live 2 hooked up to it, and it's fun. It's about the funnest thing you can do on the ice. And all of our houses have that. All our houses have smart TVs. So if you bring your Humminbird, you bring your Garmin, whatever, you can plug right in. You can do exactly what we're doing. The houses all come with generators that the lake crew comes and fills up once a day. Basically, you show up with your sweatpants, some bait, and a sleeping bag, and you can sit in a fish house like this and enjoy it. And truthfully, that's what a lot of people like to do. We're finding out that although going out in the portables and drilling a bunch of holes on top of the ice is a great way to go ice fishing, we're finding that a lot of people don't mind this one either.
When these guys were planning to come here, they're like, "Well, I need to obviously bring warm clothes." I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be cold, and I wanted to start their trip with this because this is the luxury, the luxury of ice fishing.
And the fact of the matter is, I was cold for 32 seconds.
Yeah.
Get truck to here. And I am overdressed right now. Like I got
a little bit.
I loaded up on like FXR stuff and like totally got like prepared for this trip. And man, I've got way too many clothes on. Like it's super comfortable. No, I'm not exaggerating. You could come in here just literally dress like you would in Tennessee today and be absolutely comfortable. The rods are a little different. The fishing technique's a little different. But with that being said, man, this is an awesome experience. And I've spent most of the morning talking to Brad because I'm, a little out of my element, obviously, but I am absolutely blown away by the level of customer service that I hear these guys offer, and B, just quite honestly, the amenities. Like, growing up in Tennessee, I look at ice fishing and I think, what you're talking about. Like, man, we're going out there, we're drilling holes, we're freezing our butts off. Yeah. And I'm sure there is a time and a place. Yeah. And I want to experience that, right? Like, if you come duck hunt with me, you're going to be warm and cozy, and we got Wi-Fi and electricity and all that stuff. But I could take you on a killer duck hunt where we get nasty and cold and wet. And I got one chasing me. Come on, bro. God. Oh, I missed it. Okay, so, but man, this is a lot of fun, and where I come from, the land of rednecks, and I promise you, there's like a lot of rednecks that would enjoy sitting in here and eating good and laughing, hanging out with your friends and family, and I mean, this is a really interactive social experience, and I gonna get more interactive if this sucker right here eats. Hang on.
Here's a great story for us. So just last week, we had a couple from Alabama that flew in, got out of their rental car with shorts on, and walked from the rental car 15 feet from the car into the house, and they're past customers. They're super awesome. They've realized that they don't even have to change clothes with the climate because they're only going to be outside for about, like you said, 9 seconds.
I think that, I mean, man, we can sit and talk GSM and sit and talk Northland and all that. And I want to certainly spend some time talking about the legacy and the heritage and the tradition that is Northland, and why, you know, we identify that as so important to who we are, what we want to do in the direction. But man, I can't imagine wasting this opportunity and not just spend some time talking to Brad about this operation, and, you know, kind of give people an opportunity to at least be educated on how to experience this. So I want to ask you a question. So you're, I guess your closest, I mean, man, I flew into Brainerd, which is just right down the road.
Yep.
So it's not hard to get here, but
Nope.
You could also come up from the Twin Cities in how long does it take?
Hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half from
Yep.
a major airport.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about the seasonality. Like when do you get on the ice? When are you getting off the ice?
So for just guiding in the port, there's guide season, and then there's the ice camp season. So we start usually early December, about the 10th to the 15th, when we start doing our guide trips on the ice, and that's traveling with snowmobiles and four-wheelers and taking customers out in the otters. And then
tell us what that means. What's the otters?
So that's portable. Those are where you see those fabric pullover tents that people.
Yeah, it's like a pop-up deer blind, right?
Yeah, it's like a pop-up deer blind on the ice, and we take guys out in those for the day. And those are a lot more mobile. You can bounce around on those. And then what we do is, quite simply, once the ice gets thicker, every year we open the ice camp season.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
If you hear that in the background, that's a truck driving by right now. Like,
yeah, he's filling the generator outside.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. Like, I'm still a little bit like, I'm not worried at all, zero. But it's still a lot to comprehend. We're in 30 feet of water, and how many people? I'm welcome to the world of ADHD.
Okay.
How many people are on the lake on a given day?
On Mille Lacs, probably on a Monday, like Monday to whatever. There's probably 1,500 people out here today. On the weekends, we'll go up to 20,000 people.
Wow, that's incredible.
But Mille Lacs is huge too.
And so this is a 167,000 acre lake. Yeah. The lake's like 18 by 22 miles.
Wow,
it's huge.
Yeah. So to give that a little relativity, I live in a town of 3,000. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So my town 6.5 times over on the lake on a Saturday. Yeah. Or I don't know that y'all have enough like beer and stuff to stock, but my town was here on 6.5 times over. But with that being said, so tell us about. I interrupted you. I want you to finish if I didn't kill your train of thought. But so you cater to guys that, you know, guide season.
Yep. You
cater to people that just want to go out and chase fish around.
Yep.
And it's just like getting out of a boat, except for you're on ice, right?
Yeah. So once we get into ice camp season, we open that at December 27th every year. So this house we're in here, this is a 21-foot Yeti Grand Escapes. It's a very nice house. Not our nicest by any means, but still really high end. And that season starts right at the end of December. And that's when people start flying into Brainerd, flying into MSP, where they can fly in, drive an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, and get up here and literally walk from their rental car into the fish house and start fishing. Or what a lot of people do is they'll grab a pillow, they'll lay on the couch, and they'll put a rattle reel down, which a rattle reel is just a little, I don't know what you probably show on here, but they got a little bell in them, and when a fish takes them, they just start jingling away, and you get your butt off the couch and you start reeling in fish.
Kind of like a bobber.
Yeah,
it'd be like catfishing in the South with a little bell on the end of your rod, right? Yep. Like you set your rod out, your line's out. Yep. You got a little something that acknowledges you got a bite, and you go reel it in.
Then we got houses from, like, this is a 4-person house. We got 6-person houses where you could get 8 people in if you want. But that starts that whole season where you start driving trucks out onto the ice and 1-ton vehicles, and we're kind of moving all over and plowing roads. Like The road we took, the ice road we took to get to this house here is about 7.5 miles long. So can you imagine getting off your plane, driving to the little town, wherever we're running out of that, you're on Mille Lacs, and then driving out onto a frozen lake 7-8 miles. And it's a really cool experience.
That's home for the couple days that they're here.
Yeah.
How many beds does this house have in it?
This one is a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's a 4-bed house.
Yeah.
So do people haul supplies, groceries, and everything out here and don't leave?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So there's two extremes of that.
Okay.
There's the people that have stayed with us before that enjoy it. They don't want to leave. Once they get here, they want to make sure they have everything. They don't want to leave for water, beer, whatever. They're coming and they're fully stocked, and they get here and they don't leave for 5 days. And then you get the other crowd that's serious fishing. They bring their stuff, but they like running to Brainerd to go shopping.
Yeah, kind of break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Bro, I got a freaking megalodon looking at mine right now. Hang on, he went back down.
All of us are looking at this big TV
Yeah,
screen.
Yeah,
And we got like 30 perch on the screen. They're not very big. They're the small ones.
Whatever you say, Jason, that was Loch Ness.
Yeah, I just made a couple too.
And the other guys, they're a couple feet away from us. They're watching a hummingbird explore, and they got the same thing going on over
Look at-
there. So
There's Nessie. She's back. Look, she's on me too. Get it?
Eat it.
I don't know how I'm supposed to be. I'm like jigging, shaking, quivering. I'm like seizing out over here trying to get this thing to bite.
So we're actually only a week away from the end of walleye season. And how much farther or longer do you run after the walleye season in Minnesota closes?
So we fish. So the walleye season closes on the 23rd, I believe, and we pull all the houses off on the 24th.
Wow.
This year, we'll see if we get a lot of calls for it. But the perch fishing has been really, really good, and we've had quite a few people want to perch fish, and we'll see about keeping open. But your typical year goes from the ice rental, the ice camp season is from December 27th until about the 3rd or 4th weekend in February.
There's the megalodon. She's back.
Crispin's trying to catch one right now.
Look, I man, this podcast has been like a dream of mine for a long time for our fishing side. But when you put a rod in my hand, it's like they're all on me in here. They're like, focus. And I'm like, we can do two things at one time. So Brad, talk a little bit about like what species that do people come here to target? Like we're obviously primarily perch fishing today.
Yep. So during the day, perch is kind of king. Perch and tulipy. So tulipy, if you're not familiar with the tulipy, it's basically a whitefish.
Look, there's one that you were like keep an eye out for.
Yeah, that one's a bigger one. I'm gonna get down there. Squirrel.
Hey, y'all, hang
It's
tight.
all right. Oh, look at that. See that? See that big one coming in? Someone better stick him. Oh.
Coming to you, Brad.
Yeah, he's
I got it. I got this. See that?
Got serious.
Oh, come on now.
Swam right by.
No, that's a giant.
Oh, we swung over
he's
here.
Nope, he turned.
He's
Come
coming
on,
over
baby.
here. Oh, I think that's a big one.
Oh,
Oh gosh.
Get him.
Oh,
come on.
We can
Would
actually
someone
see.
Please.
We can actually
Please.
see.
Oh,
Charlie's got it.
Charlie got it.
Got a big one.
Chuck sealing the deal.
Is it a good one, Chuck?
Big
Big
and good.
It looked like a big
Oh.
one compared to everything else
Oh,
I've seen on the
it's so
screen.
loose.
So
It's a giant
we
fish.
interrupt this podcast to bring you a
big fish.
big
Five
fish.
catch.
Is it perchy?
Might be one.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's Juleby. What Brad was just talking about.
Oh yeah. Is that on that new top secret deal?
Yeah.
It is. We can't
We're
show
gonna
this
hide
one.
that.
We can't show the bait on this one.
No bait on this one.
So for everybody that's has a speaks Southernese like me, this fish, I'll get Jason to bring it over here and show it to you. It looks like a big shad, kind of.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Oh, Charlie's got it. There you go. So it looks like a big shad.
And they're delicious.
People smoke them,
They
right?
Don't eat
smoke them,
those?
yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever eaten a shad?
No,
Okay, just curious.
no.
They smell.
It
don't
smells
smell
like a
very good.
shad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's got to be in the same
It looks like
family.
a gizzard shad for
Yeah, we're
everyone
gonna-
down south.
Yeah,
Right, get
Very
them down
similar to
before
extinct.
but it's. I mean, how long was that fish?
That's like a
14.
15 inch fish.
Yeah. Like what is going on there?
Brad's got a perch.
Yeah, Brad's got a perch now.
Double up.
Doubled up.
Doubled
Well,
up.
the little double.
Yeah.
What we're talking?
We're
yeah.
talking about what type
You're
of
talking
fish
about
you
what
can catch.
species, and
Oh, and then
literally
all that happened.
you called the wallaby or whatever that thing is. What is it?
Tullaby.
I thought it was a wallaby.
Wallaby.
That's like isn't that like a wallaby's like a kangaroo or something?
Yeah, it's from Australia. I know that.
Yeah.
So we got tullabys, which you just saw, and then during the day,
Money.
Mille Lacs is basically a perch fishery. Early season, you'll catch a bunch of walleye during the day, but this time of year, people focus on perch and
He's coming to
tullaby
you.
during the day. Oh, he's way up there. Come here.
I mean, you would think when they follow it up that far, they gotta finish. Like
Brad's about 12 feet down, and this fish is
Came up
Look,
and gave me a
yeah.
sniff.
he saw me, then I reeled it up over his head. So, admittedly, this is super tough to stay on task here, as you
Yeah.
might can tell.
But it's action packed. This has been
Yeah,
we've been in this house for 3 hours now, and
Yeah,
it's
we've
been
caught-
like this. the
yeah,
entire
we've
day.
caught
we
several
catch
in
it,
3 hours. I'm fixing to get this one.
So February is like perch month on Mille Lacs. So we will, once we get past the daytime walleye bite for ice camp, which is about, I'd say about 3/4 of the way. Man, I got whacked. It's about 3/4 of the way into January. Then we'll start placing houses on more perchy grounds for the customers. And this is kind of what you get to do. All the perch you catch aren't giants. I don't want to give that fallacy that it's all the perch are giant. But if you fish through them like what we're doing here, you get some really good quality perch and some really good quality tullabee mixed in.
So Brad, you can move these houses around, can't you? So you're kind of following the fish.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
wanna look at it that way.
Yeah, we're staying on the vein of fish, and all these houses are hydraulic. So you hit a button on a remote. This house lifts up hydraulically,
Yeah.
and we just drive it around the lake.
What do you kind of look for? You know, like, hey, that's a good spot. Like down south, we're like, hey, that drop has probably got some in the summertime, or this grass line has got some in the springtime. What do you look for on this lake in the winter?
So that's a great question. I'll start with what we used to do. We used to just fish areas and think that perch came through. Now what we'll do is, before I pick spots to place these houses, or I'll have me and my crew of guides, we'll take, for instance, like this area, I stayed at the end down here and I had Miles run to the other end, and we just sat there and counted fish on live sonar. So we'll take 3-hour blocks and we'll park in our truck or a portable, and we'll go, there's one. Because now when you can see the fins on the fish, you know what they are.
Yeah.
You don't got to sit there and harass the fish.
Yeah.
And, you tell your customers that, like, hey, we're watching for fish. We didn't catch any because we weren't actually fishing. But there's a ton of fish here. And then you put these houses right on top of them. So we used to look at areas and throw darts at the map and pre-fish it. Now we sit and watch the areas for hours and then place our houses. Now, if we didn't mark, was it 20 fish an hour is what we try to mark before we place houses.
Well,
If we're not marking 20 fish an hour, we yank the pre-fishing guys out to go watch other areas.
Yeah.
And then after we verify that there's 20 fish an hour in that area moving, then we'll send one of our guys over here to actually fish and to get basically a size and color run on what's down there. And then we move them. So we used to look for spots, right? Like everyone wanted to fish a spot that looked good. Now we're actually fishing fish. Oh, I just got
like getting on the fish and fishing for them.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're not spot fishing. We even had a couple spots this year where guys were like, we're not on anything. This isn't a spot. We're like, yeah, it's not.
But there's fish there.
But there's fish here.
Yeah.
They're in the area swimming around.
Yeah, they're eating bugs, and I'm sorry. You get kind of how you have to apologize for a basin. Like if you're in a featureless basin that's full of bugs, and I know you can't see the bugs, but that's why the fish are coming through here.
One cool thing that I learned right away from Brad and his operation is they're always moving houses. Like today, this is the first time that anyone's fished on this spot or this area.
That's cool.
They actually had just moved this house before we got in it.
Look at that big thing. Oh, dude, he see that? He came up when I was reeling up. Oh, get down there. See, I don't get excited too much, but that's the one we're looking for there.
It's a good thing when your guy gets excited. I know that.
For sure.
Where is
And then
that
I've got
thing?
these dang little squirrels over here chasing mine around.
Some of these ice operations, they keep their houses on the same spot or same point or same hump all winter long. And I mean, Brad's really working hard here to make sure we're always on fresh fish.
And you're like plowing new roads on the ice, aren't you? And
Daily.
all that kind of crazy stuff.
Daily.
He's on you.
Yeah, to get out here, we had to actually go over a bridge.
Yeah, which freaked me out just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
Really?
Yeah, just a little. Like, I'm like, Jace, why is there a bridge in this lake? And he's like, oh, that's a crack in the ice. I'm like, awesome.
And you got to drive over the crack.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to give me a little bit. Like,
you just want to explain that a little bit too, just like the pressure cracks and just how crazy it can really get out here.
Go
Can I
ahead,
take
Brad.
that? All right.
Yeah,
So
I mean, Brad's also a volunteer firefighter, so he does get to experience some of the
Some ice
accidents
rescues.
that do happen
Not
on
to
the
freak
ice.
anyone out though. Just
no, I mean, but that's a real part of it.
Yeah.
Like where I live, right? Like people, I mean,
Think
you have
about it.
high-speed bass boat wrecks and
Yeah,
stuff like
right.
that. I mean, it's a part of all outdoor activities. There's always you're outdoors. Like there's
Yeah.
an element of potential
there's
danger, right?
a TikTok video I posted 3 weeks ago that's got almost 1 million views on it from a guy right
You
by
tag us
that
in it?
bridge. He put his truck right in the crack.
Oh, Jace was telling me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went super viral. But so the bridges that are there, because ice has pressure heaves, and what that is ice grows, and you have a shoreline. So when the ice forms on a lake, think of it as forming in a glass. Well, as your glass freezes and freezes, or in a beer bottle, it'll break. It expands. So when you're growing ice and you have the shoreline keeping that contained and it keeps growing and growing and growing, it keeps pushing it out and pushing it out. And that ice will break either where it's thinnest, or it'll just break there and keep breaking there because that's where the pressure keeps coming from. So then that ice heave will stay there all year. And when they know that, usually when an ice heave happens, it's either there for a couple of days and it goes away. But if it's there for more than, I'd say, 3 or 4 days, you can count on it being there for the whole season.
Okay.
And it's actually a good thing because it's predictable. They put a bridge on it, and you're basically going. It's not that one's thin or one side maybe, like in this case, the ice on that side of the bridge is 4 inches thicker than the ice on this side of the bridge, but you're already over 2.5 feet. So it doesn't really matter. But that's why they bridge it, so you don't end up with your car looking like a bobber.
So talk to me about that as somebody who's very, very unlearned about ice fishing. What are the parameters for, like, okay, you can walk on it, you can drive, an ATV on it, you can drive a full size vehicle on it, you can put an ice house on it. What are the
Okay.
kind of the parameters there?
So when I first start checking ice, we're doing it on 3 to 5 inches on Mille Lacs.
Okay.
And
That's walking.
that's walking. Yep, that's walking. And then once we get to 5 to 6 inches, then we start using our snowmobiles and ATVs, and we got a couple of Japanese mini trucks we use. Look, Google those; they're super cool. We use those light vehicle travel, and that's the start of the guide season. I open up guide season when we have 6 inches of ice, and we already have those safe trails and areas we've gone to and watched and pre-fished, ready to go for our customers. And then from there, that early ice from 6 inches to 10 inches, that's where we're really dialing in these locations. So that's why being a full-time guide and then working with Ice Camp works so well, is all that data that we have on those fish locations. When it's time to put these fish houses out, we're not throwing into the wind here.
Right. Yeah, you're not throwing a dart at a dartboard going, let's try here.
Nope.
Yeah.
We bring these houses out, and sometimes we'll pull those portables off of houses, like pre-season. We'll say, get those houses out of there, save that for the wheelhouses. Then we'll move the wheelhouses out there, and we'll start shuttling people from there. They'll park on shore, and we'll run them out with the light equipment starting right at Christmas time if the ice isn't thick enough. But I would say we start driving right at 12 inches of ice.
Okay.
We
You
start-
said we have over 2.5 feet now.
Yeah, we're 20. I'd
Close to
say
30 inches.
Yeah,
26.
20
You could drive a
30.
semi across this.
a
right?
train. Yeah.
Yeah.
Train.
I would why. So obviously you've got the ice deal dialed in terms of like, and I assume most people up here know those
Yeah.
parameters, right?
Yeah.
Like you grow up around it, you know it.
There's still a number of accidents though. Every
Yeah.
year, but
But man, I don't want that to seem scary because,
Yeah.
like, seriously, there's people that do dumb things down in the South too at a very high rate.
This is way safer than noodling.
It gotta be.
It is, yeah.
It's gotta be. Dude, that's a big one on the bottom.
That is a big one.
I don't know anybody else on this lake is saying biggin today. But
What do you mean? I heard Joey say it earlier.
yeah, Joey's kind of a transplant, right? Like Joey moved to Knoxville from Chicago, and he's not full blown yet.
Joey does have.
But I'm on the way.
Ice
I
fishing
would
experience.
say.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Do what? He's got what?
He's got ice fishing experience.
Yeah, that's what he tells us anyway. I mean, he talks
I
like
want
he
you
his
for an
accent.
hour.
His accent proves that he probably has ice fished in the past. So here's the next thing that. So I get in a truck today with Jace. We follow Brad out here, who's in a 3/4 ton truck with a plow on it. So if he doesn't fall through, we're not falling through. With that being said, you didn't think about it that way. Did you? So we get in this like super nice ice house. How many of these do you have?
11.
So this is like having a fleet of rental properties that are mobile, that people are, it's like kind of like Airbnb on the lake, right? Or VRBO on the water. And these things are, dude, I'm telling you, like we drove past 100. These are nice. I mean, I can tell that just comparatively. But one of the first things I noticed outside of it's really nice, really comfortable, really warm. Like these things are trimmed out and wood. I mean, they're nice. But the live sonar, like that has got to have changed the game. Yeah. And this isn't just a Brad thing. This is a Charlie Jace thing. Like this has to have changed the game of ice fishing as much or more than it has open water fishing, right?
Yeah, no, we're not doing it today. We're just sitting in the house watching the TV or the units, but chasing basin fish, crappies, bluegills, panfish when they're schooled up over 40, 50 feet of water, but they're only 20 feet down, drilling a single hole where before you'd have to drill 100 holes to finally land on that school. That's where the live is really, at least to me, opened it up. Brad, you can speak on it too.
Even for this, where you're keeping people engaged in the fishing when they maybe lost interest after an hour or so.
Yeah. Crispin can't keep his eyes up.
Yeah, like I haven't, as you might know, I haven't caught one since we've been live, but they're all over me, right? And like, I'm in it. So to your point, Charlie.
Yeah, I was fishing with a couple kids, and their family a couple weekends ago, and they're just tuned into the live sonar the whole time. They know when fish are coming in, when the bigger fish are coming in, and it was super cool to see that, just keeping their interest. Being out on the ice fishing. So.
Here's what I can tell you: they're all big until they're not.
Yeah,
they all look big.
Yeah, they all look big on that screen, especially on a 50-inch flat screen.
I mean, the way that Brad's utilizing it too, just with the pre-fishing aspect, he's not catching any fish. He's just counting fish and making sure those spots are, not beat up before his clients do get there.
So. You said something a minute ago that like was kind of always in my mind. Like in the past, drill a hole. Like the last time that I came up here, I've been up here one time prior, and it's my only ice fishing experience. But we had Vexillar flashers, which were like the OGs, right?
Yep.
Like you drill a hole, and kind of that's what you had.
Yeah, you're looking only at that much space, and now Brad's got this set out to 20 feet each direction.
You see him swimming in.
Yeah, we're sitting, 10, 12 feet away from Charlie and Joey, but we can actually see their lures on our screen.
Yeah, Joey's looks like he's probably not going to catch him. But I love to pick on Joey. You'll learn this. But with that being said, like, so I envision, let's say you don't have one of these like 5-star accommodations. And you're just going ice fishing. So you go out there to a spot, like you got a waypoint, just like you do in your boat.
Yep.
This is the end of a ridge or a reef or, whatever it may be, whatever the structural feature is. You drill a hole, you drop your live sonar down, and you go, okay, there's some over there. 30 feet, you walk 30 feet, drill another hole, drop on them. Is that how they go?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like this time of year when there's 30 inches of ice and there's 8 to 12 inches of snow, those fish won't spook most of the time, depending on how loud you are and whatnot. But like early season when we're walking out on 5 inches of ice, and you do go drill on top of them, you'll see those fish spook. So it's also like learning how loud you actually are. Like it's kind of crazy how even we've seen it where we've been set up in a house and a vehicle is pulled up close to us and it literally drives the fish right to us.
Yes.
Where they're just sitting over there not moving. And the
Interesting.
vehicle comes by, or just someone walking. But yeah, it's pretty crazy to see and how the fish interact with your baits and how engaged everyone is.
I want to swing on them, bro. I need like an 8-foot rod. And I need to sit 8 feet from this hole.
Power set them.
Power set them. That's it. So we've talked kind of about the lake. We talked about Brad's operation. Now, talk to me about how much of Northland's business ice represents, and kind of like, because if you're not from here, you may not understand. Kind of this is like there's guys bass fishing at home today as we speak, no matter how cold it is. This is the same deal. Like guys are just wanting to go fishing. They still want to go walleye fish, crappie fish. You catch bass through the ice too, right?
Yeah, no, you can. We might. I don't know how many smallmouth you catch in the winter, but it's probably
Not many, but they do catch them.
Yeah, we're on.
And this lake's got them, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Mille Lacs has got a gigantor brown fish, and so talk to me a little bit. Like, talk about tell us about the baits we're using and why and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So a lot of I think everyone's got a tungsten spoon, a jigging spoon on today, and that's either an 1/8 ounce version or a 1/4 ounce version. Mille Lacs is really clear. I mean, we're talking what, 15, 20 foot?
50, exactly. I'd say it's like 17, 18 foot. Yep.
Yeah. And in the past with, traditional lead jigging spoons, Joey's showing one to the camera now, it's hard to get a small, compact profile, to have enough weight to be able to fish in 26, 27 feet. But now with the tungsten, we can use these 1/8 and 1/4 ounce spoons and catch, even these little tiny perch. Brad's been a big proponent on it this year with just downsizing.
Yes.
He's got a few tips on, sizing up his hooks and whatnot that you can go into. But Mille Lacs is like the perfect body of water where tungsten, really does make a difference.
Well, all three things that make a difference play here. Because you're clear, so you right from the jump, you want a smaller profile. Whether that's drop shot and smallmouth or ice fishing, you want smaller profile because they can see that. Like there's whatever you think your size of your presentation is in cloudy bodies of water, the fish can't see how big it really is.
Yep.
Here they can. I mean, we had the houses this is a great one. We had the houses up on the reef mid last week, and it was 17 feet of water, and you could see the fish swimming underneath the house. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But so the 30% smaller, and then being able to read, to have that target separation with whatever live sonar you're using, and target separation when your fish is super close, you can see that it's an inch away from your bait. Like, so there's just a bunch of benefits to tungsten.
Now, like I said,
And Brad also told me that with tungsten, you could feel a fish lick it.
Yes, I did say that earlier.
sensitivity aspect.
So
yes.
Put that against your lead spoon.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think I've ever felt a fish lick a lead spoon.
Yeah,
all
I mean,
tungsten.
Tungsten only, you can feel a fish lick your spoon.
Yep.
So
we got a tungsten buckshot and a tungsten slim spoon. I think each of us have one on. The tungsten buckshot has a rattle in it, a little rattle chamber, and then the tungsten slim spoon doesn't have a rattle, but it has a little extra kicker blade. That's the one Joey was using. But yeah, just the tungsten aspect. Mille Lacs is just the perfect example of where it really shines. Clear bodies of water, downsizing. Especially now, we're in mid-February. It's the coldest month we have in Minnesota here. I think tomorrow morning
You
it's
didn't
going to be
tell me
negative.
that
I
when
think
we
it's going to be like -20 tomorrow.
He did not mention that when we booked this trip. He did not say, "Hey, February is like super cold."
So I'm trying to give them the full experience of this whole ice fishing thing. But yeah, it's the fish are dormant, and that's where that tungsten really comes into play.
I just wanted to say a cool stat. So this year would be the 50th year that Northland has been making lures for anglers up in the upper Midwest, and it's really cool because we get all the different types of seasons. So like obviously we have super nice summers, 80-degree temperatures, and then now we're sitting on 2.5 feet of ice, jigging. So when ice season comes around, people get jacked up. It's pretty crazy.
That's
December.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard a pretty interesting stat last night. I heard Charlie Peterson was quite the baller in his day.
I heard that too.
I can put a few through the net.
When everything, bro, look, we're gonna get us. We're gonna play when it. I'm not playing up here in February, but I don't even know if the gyms can get warm in February up here. But seriously, man, we're gonna play basketball at some point in time. How old are you, Charlie?
26.
Yeah, I got 21 years of experience. That's the way I'm gonna look at it.
Right.
Look at that dude, like he is all over. He's
Like Charlie was saying though, like people are jacked up this year about the ice season. The last couple of years we've had pretty poor ice seasons, and really what that means is we just haven't gotten the ice that like we have this year. Yeah, we either get a lot of snow early and it's really hard to travel on the ice, or we don't get enough ice and people are pretty much stuck to walking or four-wheeler snowmobile travel. This is like,
look at this big one coming in. Sorry to interrupt. Look at that thing. This is what I wait for. See that? I just wait up high.
Oh yeah,
until the big
Oh,
dogs come
dude.
Oh
in.
my gosh.
okay. So that changes everything.
Oh, he's coming in hot. He's coming in
Perspective.
hot. All right, I'll show you guys how to do this. Oh, look at him nosing me. See that?
He's licking it.
Yeah, come here. Come on. You don't. No, wrong way.
Oh,
it is pretty cool, and the guide gets excited. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah,
That's a giant fish.
Yeah,
the thing is
yeah.
like that big on the screen. Yeah. Where do you guys have on your screen?
We had
yeah, we saw for
something
second.
bigger
It's back
fish.
over there. Oh, good job, Charlie. You scared him away.
It was me. I dropped it on his head. Oh, he's going up to Charlie.
All right, so hey, it got real quiet on it. Can you tell that like a big one came on the screen and everybody's like, "All right, we'll talk about fishing here in a second."
It's
So
hard when there's 5 fishermen looking at a
yeah, it's
large fisher.
yeah.
we knew there was potential for this to be an absolute abject disaster, right?
We're trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, and we hey, I'm having a good time.
Well, I
and-
mean, we could shut it all off, right?
nope, not doing it.
Exactly.
Not doing it. So I want to talk to Charlie and Jace for a minute. I mean, I want our viewers to know kind of who you are in relation to the Northland brand. Like you guys grew up with it. Your family was the originators.
Yep.
So I mean, I'll let you guys tell the story.
Yeah. So like Charlie said, 50 years ago is when our great uncle John, started selling fishing tackle out of his garage. And then our grandfather, he jumped on board a few years after. And yeah, Charlie and I grew up in it. That's all we know, really. We had birthday parties at the Northland warehouse, and that's what we live and breathe. And we were excited, coming out of college to get an opportunity with Northland. And whether it be walleyes, bass, panfish, we do it all. And you kind of have to. Up here, we have bass seasons, we have walleye seasons, and to spend, to not be able to fish during those times, whether that be for walleye or bass, you got to do crappie fishing. You got to do pan fishing. Brad, the walleye season ends in a week here, and we're not going to be done fishing. We're going to go chase after crappies and panfish. March is actually a great month for ice fishing, whether that be for perch. Yeah, the days are longer. Sometimes you get 40-degree days on the ice, and that's sweatshirt weather for us.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know about for you, but
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, that's hoodie weather
Yeah.
for sure.
But then, yeah, when the ice goes off, there's usually a few weeks or a month in there that we have to pan fish, crappie, bluegill fish as well, and then our open water season starts. So, but yeah, no, we've grown up into it, and we've been through it with the first cell, and now this would be the second cell of Northland, and that, like we said in the beginning, the GSM acquisition I think is going to be great. What they're going to bring to the table is going to be awesome. The resources is what we're most excited about.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah, and same. I mean, not to saw sawdust, but you guys have the right DNA. You've got the right magic and blood running through the veins. We're just gonna help give you resources that, quite honestly, you didn't have as a standalone company, right?
Yeah.
And I said this, and I swear I'm not gonna make this like a theme of this podcast, but you get this really negative connotation in some people's mind about the of corporate ownership or what have you, and I get it, man. I mean, everybody loves to pull for the mom and pop, the small brand underdog, what have you, but what if you were very intentional about maintaining that mentality and maintaining that passion and what got the brand to where it is, and just said, hey, we just want to complement that. And that's what I think people should expect from us. That's certainly our goal.
I remember the first thing I asked you prior to the acquisition, I was like, well, am I going to have to move?
Yep.
And you go, nope, you can't move. You got to stay there. And
Yeah, I mean,
keep the product development there, keep the pro staff level there, all the marketing tools. And I mean, that's what GSM wants.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, because we were having a conversation this morning just about anglers and about, our customer base. But the thing is, like, I'm almost hesitant to use that term, like our customer base, because we're just all fishermen. Like, I buy tackle that we don't make. You know what I mean? Like, I want to try everything. And I think at the core, like, you can't fake authenticity, right? Like, and that's not, I don't know, man. That's not who we desire to be. And I'm, man, super grateful to have you guys and have guys on our staff like Brad that, man, this is their life, right? You guys grew up with Northland. Brad like lives this every single day and is the ultimate testing ground for our products.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I mean, this is such a cool experience for somebody that's not from up here. Because at the core, we're all very similar. You guys aren't, we're not out doing something else, man. We're chasing fish,
yep,
even through the ice, right?
Exactly.
And it's still a little bit surreal to me to be this out of my, so far out of my element and comfort zone. But I don't know, man. I mean, I know how much all I heard in the beginning was how hardcore that you and Charlie are bass heads too, right?
Yeah.
So like, we're sitting here talking ice fishing and perch and walleye and crappie and stuff, but you guys get after those bass pretty dang hard.
Yeah. Last night over dinner, we were talking about the Mille Lacs tournament we were fishing out here, and yeah, we like our bass fishing. We try to do as much ice fishing as we can. This time of year, obviously, the walleye fishing in May and June is phenomenal. I mean, we always make a trip down to see Brad right around the time walleye season opens in 50, 100 fish days, and it's
incredible.
Shallow water, 6 to 10 feet of water.
We popped a 6-pound brown bass.
We did, yeah.
Brown bass.
And that's like,
Yeah.
we meant to come down here to shoot some stuff on the walleye side. We're doing kind of a photo shoot, video shoot for our new short shank tungsten stand-up jig and the regular shank stand-up jig. And Brad got us a little shallow and we caught a few bass. But for the most part, we were walleye fishing. Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens sometimes.
But then after June, once we kind of got our walleye fix, we're full on bass mode, pretty much up until ice season starts again. So yeah, we're very similar in that regard with Joey and Crispin, where we want to make trips down south to see those guys in the summertime, or in the wintertime to hopefully fill that void that we get for our bass fishing.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the cool thing too. Like, I mean, you guys had us up here. I'm obviously going to have you guys come down. We're do some Tennessee River bass fishing and go some other cool places. But Joey, is there anything we're missing, dude? Anything you want to talk about?
I mean, I think we covered it.
Okay.
All pretty much.
I'm gonna turn the camera and just show people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do
Show
think
them.
we want you guys to see this because
Yeah, show them
if
what
you
we're
can
in.
show them around, the lighting's going to change a little bit. But
So that's what they can see the TV now. That's what we've been working with the entire time.
Those are all fish. Point out.
yeah, that's my jig right above them that they're not biting.
Jace, you kind of wanted to show one of your tackle boxes real quick too, and just for this other guys, they're like, what are they fishing with?
Yeah. Brad,
Yeah,
do you want to show off?
Run through equipment like rod,
Yeah.
reel line,
Yeah.
like
You want to do it all, Brad?
Sure. Yeah.
That's pretty much
Brad's
all
boxes.
we're missing.
Yeah, so like that tungsten thing, I'm just gonna hop in here. These guys are gonna interrupt me with their hook sets.
I hope so.
So, all right, so this is one of my boxes. All that's in here is tungsten, and you need a bunch of different colors. You need a bunch of different colors. And you need a bunch of different sizes. And basically, in the wintertime, all you're doing is vertical jigging. So if you don't like vertical jigging, don't ice fish because that's all you're going to be doing. But I've got my flutter spoons in here, and I've also got my different rattling baits. But you see there's a lot of colors and there's a lot of sizes in here for a reason. Like these smaller ones, when we get into this time of year, in the late season that Jace is talking about, late season means more bugs because all the bugs that come out of the mud and come out of the lakes that you see in the summertime are in that third stage of life. They're as big as they're going to get, and as soon as spring comes around, they're going to swim to the top, turn into actually winged creatures, and start flying around. So that's why size is real important. You want to be the same size as the bugs crawling around the bottom. So that's all the tungsten rattle baits and flutter spoons in one box there. I got to show you my favorite color here.
Brad's giving away the juice.
I'm giving away the juice right there. See that? Nasty color right there. Like, and it's got a rattle. One of my favorites.
Does that help a little? Give you a little more light. I opened
Yeah.
up the curtain in here.
Look at that. That's purple race car.
Yep.
Purple race car with a rattle. No, you didn't. Like that is that is good.
Brad, do you want to show off this rod?
Yes. Yeah. So and then the other equipment. So tungsten's super important. And then here is, I'll give you the business end first. So there, as you can see. And that's the tippage on there, the bait, those are little Eurolarva. AKA those are maggots. So Eurolarva, and those get colored basically by the food you feed them. And I go into 6-pound test fluorocarbon. These here are, because the climate's pretty harsh and this rod will fish inside and outside, these are recoil guides, so titanium guides. So you can take that and bend that whole rod. See that? That ain't gonna break. So that's really key because these ice rods get beat up and line freezes to them. And then we'll go down to the other end. This is only 30 inches, this whole setup. This one here, I have an Okuma bait feeder on because I'll use this for set lines too. But it just goes to a cork handle, and basically it's real simplistic design. And you can get ice rods from $150 all the way down to $12. So whatever fits your needs or wants, you can get that. But this is a representation of the high end of it.
Dude, that's awesome. And it is that's the thing that I was talking to Brad about this morning over breakfast is like this is very all inclusive, right? You can be in this game and be out here ice fishing with a very minimal investment. Or you can go, I mean, man, the first bass tournament I ever won was out of a flat bottom boat with a 25 horse motor on it. Right? Now, you know, run a 21-foot Skeeter with a 250 Yamaha on it, right? Like, so you don't, it's not like you've got to have a $300 setup to catch them. But man, obviously there's, you can buy a Ford Focus that'll get you from point A to B. You can buy a Maserati that'll get you from point A to B. Maserati's just a lot more fun. But with that being said, man, this is a cool experience, and I would recommend everybody to give this a thought to come try. we'll share Brad's information. Completely booked up this year. Don't call him. Like, seriously, he's just going to have to tell you no. He's sitting over here frowning right now. Look at like the thought of that. But in all seriousness, like, we'll share all his info. If you want to go dip your toe in the ice, proverbially and literally, this is the best place I could think of for you to come try that. Yeah, I was telling him this morning, like, I'd love to put a trip to bring my wife and kids up here. Something different, a change of scenery, and it's a lot of dang fun. They do not, let me throw this out there. I learned this at breakfast this morning. Biscuits are not a thing up here. So if you want biscuits and you're from south of the Mason-Dixon, probably bring them yourself. And sweet tea, which that's another story. I'm going to talk to Brad about maybe starting a little joint enterprise up here, sweet tea and biscuits on ice. But with that being said, guys, we're going to cut it loose. I really want to focus on fishing. Y'all are awesome, but I came a long way to fish through the ice, so we're going to focus on that. But thank you for joining us. We're going to do this every week. It's the Think Outside podcast brought to you by Baits.com. Tune in, share it, like it, and come back and see us.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh, this is